The wait time is so excessive that it is bringing severe harm to many of the landlords out there who are waiting to get repossession of their house back. When you're dealing with police issues and there's crime happening at the property, 3 months can seem like a complete nightmare. What we really need here is changes in the legislation so that it will stop impacting all of the different organizations that are being affected.
Lincoln J reporting for Rebel News in Toronto. It seems like more and more these days we're seeing reports of landlord and tenant disputes, particularly with people that are refusing to pay rent. In my previous report, I spoke with a landlord named Farzana Aslam, who lived through a nightmare situation with a family renting her property in Toronto. Here's a snippet of Farzana's story.
One time the police came, they warned him, you can no touch the cameras. One time he pushed me from the porch. At that time I called the police too. Every time the police knew it's the landlord and tenant board matter, they just gave him the warning and left off. They owed us over 5 months of rent, plus the utilities, around 20K, plus the damages, which, I don't even want to go there.
To gain a better understanding of the system that allows these situations to happen, I spoke with Rose Marie from Solo. Rose is on the board of directors of Solo, which stands for the Small Ownership Landlords Ontario. Solo is an advocacy group that was created in 2020 for landlords dealing with issues at the Landlord and Tenant Board of Ontario. Rose initially connected me with Farzana after Farzana reached out for help regarding her situation with the family you just saw in my previous report. To learn more about this topic, let's speak with Rose herself.
Hi, I'm Rose Marie, and I am the Vice Chair of Solo, which is a landlord organization. It's an advocacy organization. We support landlords with education and resources. Solo has been in existence for approximately 5 years. Over the years, we have had different landlords approach us asking for help because they find themselves in desperate situations where they may have a bad situation with a tenant. It usually starts with non-payment of rent. So Farzana was one of the landlords that came to us via registering as a member for Solo. We have some recent statistics that demonstrate clearly that 51% of the applications that come through the board are for non-payment of rent. The statistics would be a little bit higher when we consider some of the applications that are merged together with the non-payment of rent. Many times landlords have to pay for additional cleaning costs, pay for damages. Sometimes appliances are actually stolen out of the units that were provided to the units. In many of the damage cases, they're very bad. We'll have situations or hear of situations where cat urine and dog feces has been placed all over the floors. Overall, major damage to a unit. We've also had situations where there's been intentional flooding. So we have a variety of cases where we hear of the damages. What the landlord does next is they can file an L10 application at the LTB if the tenant has moved out and file for the cost of damages and take those tenants to small claims court. So right now, if you file an application, you will be able to be heard in approximately 3 months. We have a lot of landlords who were going into the queue. They would have a hearing booked and there would be too many people to be heard that day. So they would be adjourned. The Landlord Tenant Board does not reflect those numbers. They are actually hiding them, or they're just not as accurate as any statistician would prepare them for someone who really wants the real numbers. When you're dealing with police issues and there's crime happening at the property, 3 months can seem like a complete nightmare. There's not enough support. The police will often refer a matter, say that, you strictly have to go to the LTB. I want to address what the police are going through. When these situations, due to the Residential Tenancies Act legislation, when they defer everything to the police, we're increasing their workload. What we really need here is changes in the legislation so that it will stop impacting all of the different organizations that are being affected. We have a landlord who has been in a 15-wait queue for the sheriff to address his enforcement. I have reached out to the Attorney General's office. They basically said to me that there's nothing that they can do. So I had to write back to them and say, I don't think you understand what I'm asking. I am reporting this concern to the Associate Attorney General's office, and I need someone who can help address this. If we can't go to the Attorney General, then who can we go to? So now we have a new Associate Attorney General. I thought that would be helpful to be able to not have to go to the Attorney General himself or that office. You don't even have emails or who you can speak to. They have policy advisors, they've got staff that can help, but basically they have a big wall up. So you don't even have contacts that you can go to directly and say, look, we have a serious situation on our hands. Could you please have someone look at this, contact the sheriff's office, put the enforcement date up closer. We'd like the process to be an administrative process. That means that a landlord would submit a non-payment of application. It would be handled as a paperwork function, then having hearings. This would speed up the process entirely. People would know that they can't defraud a landlord or do non-payment of rent, that it will be processed administratively and they'll be able to stop wrongful evictions. And if the tenant does not start to pay rent, they know that the landlord can automatically book the sheriff and the sheriff will enforce vacant possession back to the homeowner. Another thing that we've discovered over our journey of 5 years is professional tenants. These are tenants who commit rental fraud on multiple landlords. So we have now discovered that there are other avenues outside of the LTB to create change of behavior. And that's really what we want. We want change of behavior so that people will understand that this is an obligation that you contractually agree to. We have studied Provincial Offences Act. So that's a situation where a landlord can go to a justice of the peace and they can also get action outside of the LTB. It takes a lot of work though. We have databases too that landlords can check. So we would like you to make sure that you do your accurate vetting. Why? Because there are a lot of people that are submitting fraudulent pay stubs, fraudulent paperwork, fraudulent employer references, and you need to know how to vet and be able to check all the documents through a third party that they're giving to you. We have multiple regions that the wait time is so excessive that it is bringing severe harm to many of the landlords out there who are waiting to get repossession of their house back. For example, in the Kitchener-Waterloo Guelph region, the wait is 15 weeks. This is a plea. If you could please hire more sheriffs or implement a system where you're pulling sheriffs from other towns to be able to address this workload. Peel region, the wait time is somewhere between 9 and 15 weeks or 13 weeks. I'm not sure at the moment the exact number of weeks. It is simply too long. If we're looking at something that is just under 4 months, people are losing their homes. These are law-abiding citizens that need your assistance. We cannot hire private bailiffs unless that is the strategy that you're looking at. But in the interim, if you could implement something as quickly as possible, that is one of the asks that Solo is asking from the Ministry of Attorney General. If you are a landlord and you would like to find out more about Solo, our website is solo.ca, and we provide a lot of resources and a lot of educational information. And I want to let a warning out to the tenants who are not paying rent. Over the past 5 years, we have looked into a lot of resources that we are able to provide our members so that they can get access to timely justice. So for example, if you've got somebody that's living at your unit and you feel that they may not have legal status to live in the country and they are also doing criminal activity, there are options that you can do to go to the police. Once you have a conviction or you file information to the police, you can also contact the CBSA. They will check to see if there are any issues with them, because we want law-abiding citizens to be able to have the benefit of living in the housing that the landlords have worked very hard for to provide to tenants. So I'm going to give you that number. It's 1-888-502-9060. And that is for the Canada Border Services Agency.
The Landlord and Tenant Board told me via email that they continue to find ways to address service delays and its backlog. They note that application processing timelines have improved over recent years, and that a landlord may make a written request to shorten time to a hearing. Why is it so complicated for landlords to evict tenants who simply refuse to pay rent? If you have similar stories on this topic, please email us through tips@rebelnews.com. Thanks for watching the video. If you want to check out other videos from Rebel News, visit our website, rebelfieldreports.com. And if you appreciate the independent journalism that we're providing, consider making a donation through that same website. That's rebelfieldreports.com. Thanks.